Hmm. So, welcome to this meditation. And I also welcome myself to this meditation because I don't really know how or what will be said. So, yes. Let's see if we can take care of the basics. What are the basics? So, I'm going to do this as I'm talking. So, feet on the floor, or notice your body on the surface that you're lying or sitting on. So I love feet on the floor, body on the chair. FOFBOC. Feet on floor, body on chair. It's really a little mantra here. Whenever we get ourselves in a bit of a pickle. You know, that fiery, urgent, hot-headed feeling. I go back to FOFBOC. Feet on the floor, body on the chair. And just to notice that I'm a body, that I have a body, or I appear to have a body. And immediately you might notice, well, certainly you'll notice stuff. You'll have experiences and possibly different flavors of experiences simultaneously. It's like right now for me, I notice that my feet feel so grounded and secure and heavy on the floor. But that's not the experience of my neck or my shoulders or the top of my head. There's a different quality in my upper body versus my lower body. So immediately we can discern that experience isn't just one thing at a time. It's multiple, possibly infinite stuff happening all at once. So just see if you can discern what your experience is for you right now. So notice where you can tune into different facets of experience, different flavors. There might be a different quality of felt sense in your feet. in your sitting bones. And yet another quality in the shoulders, the neck. And really, this is a way for us to tune out of the thinking mind a little bit and pay attention to what's happening in the body. And notice how the thoughts have yet another quality, another energetic signature that's quite different to what's happening in the body. How can this be? How can one experience this I that you refer yourself to? How can this I be so multitudinous, multiplicitous? What's actually happening? Who is this I? Do I know this I? Or have I taken this I for granted? It's an invite to view this experience right now with fresh senses, fresh perception, fresh eyes, fresh. Wow, what's going on? What is this?
Oh, okay.
If you've just joined, I've just muted your mic. Just see if you can settle down and begin to pay attention to what's happening in your body. Taking care of the basics. So all that before we start to notice what's happening with the breath. Wow. As we've been talking the past 10 minutes, your heart has been effortlessly beating for you. Isn't that cool? When you're asleep, when you're having a shower, since the moment you took a breath in this body-mind, your heart has been beating. Your lungs have been breathing. We take it for granted, don't we? We take it for granted. When children come into this world, their hearts are open, totally open, pure, innocent, observing, witnessing, absorbing like a sponge. Up to the age of around 7 years old, we continue to have these open, porous, permeable or interpermeable hearts. And then around the age of 7, and this process is sped up a little bit if we have experiences, multiple experiences of trauma, the heart begins to close and we relegate around 9-10 inches above the heart into the head. So as the heart closes, we ascend up into the mind, into the thinking, into the thoughts. And this is the time when we become aware that, oh, I can't switch off these thoughts. We become aware that maybe we have thoughts that cause us some fear, some anxiety, fright, sadness. And really from the age of 7, we sort of abandon the heart, largely abandon the body as well, in favor of this thinking mind. And we forget how sweetly, lovingly, earnestly our hearts are beating for us. So when we return to the heart, when we return to the body, we descend back down from the mind to the center of the chest. And the first thing as you have a go at this is that you might notice it's hard. It's really difficult. That we're somehow addicted to the mind. We've become a slave to the mind. And unless you're a long-term meditator, if this is the first time trying this exercise, I can guarantee you'll find this quite challenging, quite tricky. The mind will continue to pull you back in. And then look, it's about a 10-inch gap in between where we think the thoughts are and where the spiritual heart is in the center of the chest. Not that far, is it? We think we need to travel to the Himalayas and meditate on mountaintops, go to ashrams. We think we need to walk for 1,000 miles, repentant on our knees. We go on endless retreats. And all that needs to happen is take the shortest journey in consciousness, precisely to the heart. That's all that needs to happen. Now, I say that like it's an easy task. If it was an easy task, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be listening to this meditation. If being in the heart was easy, these words would be unnecessary. So it's like we need someone to teach us again how to come back to the heart. And this is why we go on the retreats, go to meditation classes, go to ashrams, take medicine, sacred plant medicine. It's because we've forgotten the route to the heart, the shortest journey, and yet we've forgotten our way. And so sometimes it is true, we do need someone to hold our hand. And that doesn't have to be a person. It could be a tree, a plant, a beautiful sunset. Beautiful piece of music. But it's like we do appear to need a little bit of help in returning to the pure presence, the pure sweetness, clarity, playfulness, curiosity of the heart. And on your way there, if you ever get lost, I always return to the basics. And for me, the basics are FOFBOC, feet on the floor, body on the chair. Ah, right. I found myself. Here I am. Okay. FOFBOC is like a GPS. Let me locate myself here. So notice how you're feeling. Notice how your body is. Has anything changed in your feet? Mine have gone from grounded and still to quite playful. The toes want to dance around. Notice how the quality of your breath is. We've been here for 20 minutes now. What's the contrast between the feet, the sitting bones, and the neck? And can you hold that contrast naturally, effortlessly, as it unfolds in the present now? So much of the embodiment in non-dual teachings is really about returning to the felt sense or the felt presence of the heart. That radiance, that joyful radiance in the heart. Notice what happens when you hear the word radiance in the heart. Is it like hearing the forgotten song, an ancient sound? Something that you once knew so effortlessly. And this is why we seek. We seek because we know deep down we've had this. Otherwise, we wouldn't seek. You don't seek what you don't know. So we seek this radiance, this openness in the heart, because we know it, we know it. It's closer than your breath. See if you can feel your spiritual heart stir. If there's a shimmer, a glimmer, a little flutter, it's like, oh, I know this. I know this so well. And allow it to grow. Allow it to expand throughout the entire consciousness of your experience. And here I don't just mean the body, I mean infinite, beyond your body. I can feel our shared glimmer right now. That's how bright it is. I can feel our shared radiance. You can allow any boundaries, any edges to melt, dissolve to a point where I don't know where I end and you begin. This is how we come into this world. Totally immersed in that oceanic self. This is self with a capital S. Totally merged with this indivisible consciousness, indivisible radiance, indivisible presence. And if I compare for the third time now, what the quality of experience in this object that I call feet, and that I sometimes call feet, for me, they feel like mushy, soft, without substance. It feels, I can't put words on it now. That's so initially there was a sense of sort of presence and groundedness and heaviness. Seemed to have switched to playfulness, and now I think bliss is the closest. Even that feels a little juvenile to say. I feel like baby's feet. Yeah, babies. At one point, when you were a baby and you were lying down on the floor, guess what? You could get your foot in your mouth and have a good shoe on your toes. But then you didn't have a word feet. You didn't know what you were chewing on. You didn't even know it was attached to you. Yes. You were experiencing, presencing, being. You had no idea that there was any boundary in between your flesh and the air. Around the age of 6 or 7 months, babies begin to figure out that this strange thing that you now call hand might well be attached to you, and that you could possibly have a say over what this hand does. It's this beautiful moment where babies just, they hold their hand in front of their face, in front of their eyes, and just stare at it like, whoa, what's this? Whose is this? What is this? Oh my God, look what it can do. It's magic. It's surely magic. It cannot be attached to me, can it? Oh my God, I think it might be. I think it's me. I think I'm doing it. And yet you still have no idea what this thing is, this thing that we've now come to call hand. You're experiencing, presencing, being. Witnessing. Babies witness. With the soft, open, porous, squishy bodies. And largely, there's no thinking at this point. There's no thinking. Thoughts come in around the age of 2. At this point, you experience your body through touch. You know, you've seen babies, haven't you? Everything goes in the mouth. It's like their brain is in their mouth. Oh, there's a twig, there's a bird's feather. Let me see one. I mean, obviously they're not thinking with these thoughts, but it's like the brain cells, the neurons at that point are in the senses, in the touch, in the mouth, in their heart. So there's an intelligence, there's an experiential intelligence in the body, in the heart. And at some point, we become aware of this subvocal voice. And from around the age of 2, we begin the ascent towards the mind, the brain. And what you'll probably find is that the experience through the thinking mind is quite repetitive. Fairly monotone. In contrast to the richness of the body, of the heart, of the senses. Hmm. And it's not to prejudice one over the other. Because it's all just made of consciousness. The mind or the ego isn't some evil trickster lurking in the shadows wanting to catch us out and get us and hurt us and punish us and make our life really difficult for us. It's just radiance. Yes. Yes. Even what we call shadow. You know, Jung says 90% of the shadow is pure gold. I'm going to do one better. 100% of the so-called shadow is pure gold. Now, how's about that? You heard it here first. 100% of the so-called shadow is pure gold. How do you feel about that? So yes, you might have a question now. So what do you mean to say this shadow work I've been engaging in for the past 20 years? What do you mean? What do you mean it's pure gold? Ah, the Leela. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. That's not to say that it doesn't cause us to suffer. Suffering as an experience is certainly real. It's not to say that. But true non-duality means that everything or anything that can be experienced is simply consciousness. And the moment we label it as light, shadow, dark, light, good, bad, better or worse, we enter into a duality. On some level, you can argue that through the lens of the finite mind, you and I and 8 billion others here, yes, there does appear to be this duality. And yet, simultaneously, It's all just made of radiance. How can that be? What's going on here? Ah, it's a koan. It's a koan that it's a playful one, eh? It's a playful one. What's really going on here? Yes, if we find ourselves in a pickle, humans are very good at getting themselves in a pickle. We go back to basics. And what are the basics? FOFBOC, feet on the floor, body on the chair. GPS. We find ourselves here. And it's a useful tool. It's a useful crutch to find ourselves here in this body. It's a very useful tool. And then once we find ourselves here, paradoxically, we find ourselves everywhere. Because that's what consciousness is. It's everywhere and nowhere and here. So let's breathe. By the way, whatever you're doing right now is correct. Whatever you're doing right now, no other entity in this time frame, in this appearance, can do it better than you. You are already an expert at experiencing you, or experiencing consciousness as this body mind that you are. So if there's an inner critic that's beating you up and saying you're not doing this right, or I don't get this is too hard, or when will I stop seeking, when will I finally wake up and heal? Perfect. Let's make space for this, because that's perfect. You're experiencing you right now, and no one can do it better than you. Who can do you better than you? So you see, You already come as a master. You've already passed. You've already qualified. You've achieved all there is to achieve. My meditation teacher used to say to me, so long as you're breathing, there's more right with you than wrong with you. This is what the Leela is. This is what the cosmic play is. Though, granted, it doesn't often feel like such a play, like such a fun thing, but the play is this, that you are already it, that which you seek you already are, and yet you continue seeking. You've already achieved, attained the highest level of what this is, and yet parts of you probably feel like you failed at this thing we call life. This is sort of a, sometimes it feels like a cruel play, doesn't it? If it's a play, sometimes it feels cruel. Yes, yes. I have space. I have compassion for that. Yes, it does feel cruel, doesn't it? I get it. Yeah. And I see you. I have my own saying that's very similar to what my meditation teacher taught me. But my saying is this: there is nothing you can do or say, show me, anything that you've experienced previously that will change my mind about your inherent lovability and worth. Nothing, nothing. I already see you as a master. I already see you as attained, achieved, arrived. I see you home. I already see you as that. And this is the both and there is space in me for this sometimes cruel play that unfolds for us humans. There is space, compassion, solidarity. I take my cap off and I bow. Touche. Yes. Hmm. Just before this meditation comes to a close, just let us dive in last time into this radiance, into this sweetness. That was a lot of talking. And let's see if we can dive into this effortless presence. Self be a servant to this presence. Surrender to it. Mm. So see if you can maybe signal to your inner world that you're going to slowly transition out of this meditation. And just notice how your inner world responds. And when you feel ready, just see if you can take a more conscious breath into the body. And notice if a yawn, a sigh wants to come out. Notice if your body wants to start to move and what part of your body wants to start to move first. You can open your eyes and orient around your space, around your room. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you for joining me.